I got my first pimple in the 3rd grade. I remember it was on the side of my nose, and my classmate Carolyn had come up to me and she said, "What is that on your nose? Is it a wart? Is it contagious?" And I didn't know at the time because I'd never really had a pimple before. So I remember covering my face with my hand and I was like, "No, it's not a contagious wart." And I ran home to my mom and I said, "Mom, what is this? Is it contagious? Is it gonna get on other people? What do I do?" And my mom looked at me and she said, "Oh honey, that's nothing. That's just a pimple. Don't worry, it'll go away." Little did she know the pimples would not go away. They would take over my life. Throughout middle school and high school, acne just engulfed my face and my chest and my back. And I love my mom, but she was kind of a tomboy. She has never had a manicure in her entire life. She doesn't wear makeup. And she had never really had acne. So when my skin was exploding, and literally it would like explode and there would be pus dripping down my face, it was bad. She wasn't really able to help me. And it was the internet, people like Candy Johnson and Michelle Phan and the Fowler sisters that I went to for advice for makeup. And I remember going to the drugstore and just spending money, like lunch money, money I didn't have, on this foundation just to try to cover my skin. And over the years, I started to learn more about makeup tips and techniques, and I could actually cover my acne. I had filmed this viral video about how I used light and shadow and layers to cover my pimples so that even modeling agencies couldn't see the blemishes on my skin. And yes, there were things like lighting and Photoshop that helped, but I was a runway model. I was a model in magazines, on a billboard, with acne that you couldn't see because of the lighting, the Photoshop, but yes, the foundation. And that makeup ended up becoming both a shield and a wall to me. It was a shield that stopped other people from saying negative things or just seeing acne as the first thing they notice when they meet me. But it also became this wall that kind of kept me closed in, and I couldn't express myself or be myself because I was constantly walking into a room and wondering what other people were thinking of me. Like my hand is even shaky thinking about it because it was so psychologically distressing. And I was bullied in school for it, which has taken me a long time to say because I didn't always see it as bullying. But the long story short is that I started to rely on foundation and makeup just to feel good every day. I would wear pounds of it to just go upstairs to meet my family in the kitchen for breakfast. I felt like I was so ugly and that my acne was so bad that I felt like it was harming others to see me with my acne. Like it was decreasing their quality of life. So I would cover it up every day, even if I wasn't going outside. And thankfully, I went to aesthetic school to actually learn to become a makeup artist and fell in love with skin. I started studying chemistry and medicine and understanding, wow, our skin is this beautiful organ that protects us. And there's so much that goes on with it. But throughout that journey of being so heavily dependent on makeup and foundation to now coming to you foundation free, I literally have lashes and eyebrows on and nothing else, and I am going out of the house tonight looking like this. And like, to be able to do this is kind of unreal. And I still get little breakouts. My breakouts are obviously not as bad as they used to be, but there have been so many changes that happened when I stopped wearing foundation every day. And it wasn't just to the acne, like we're talking financial and so much more. And I want to share that because I feel like there are so many people who do rely on makeup to get ready for every single day and just feel capable of taking on the world. And I think makeup is amazing as a tool if you want to use it to create something fun or express yourself. But when it becomes a crutch or a mask, just for me, my subjective experience of that was not a positive thing. I needed this makeup in a negative way and I couldn't be myself or be a version of myself without it. It wasn't until I kind of was able to strip the makeup off that I really could become me. And there are a few little things that started to happen beyond just the psychological when I stopped wearing foundation every day. And I do want to speak about that, from my finances to actually changing my skin type. And I guess we have to start with acne because I don't attribute stopping using foundation to clearing my skin. I've actually done multiple videos on what cleared my skin, and it was kind of like this, almost like this Venn diagram of my skincare, my stress levels, and my nutrition, because that was something that, impacted my skin. And when it comes to foundation and makeup causing acne, I feel like there's two sides of the coin. There are some people who say, oh my God, makeup absolutely clogs pores, it causes acne, don't use it. And then doctors and derms and professionals say, no, if that was true, then everyone who wore makeup would have clogged pores and acne. And that's not the case. because as long as you're taking care of your skin, as long as you're using the right products and you remove the makeup at night, it's not gonna cause acne. So like there's these two very different opinions, and you know, every single story has two sides and the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. And the truth is that while no, makeup doesn't cause acne, because it doesn't for everyone, there are some people who are going to be more sensitive to certain powders or certain ingredients or oils that do irritate their skin. Now, I don't think for me that the makeup was the biggest issue, but I do think that, you know, putting layers on my skin and maybe not removing that properly at night was impacting my skin. I didn't double cleanse back then, okay? I didn't know what the double cleanse was. But even more impactful than what happened to my acne, when I stopped wearing foundation, I feel like my skin type actually changed. I was recently speaking with one of the derms that I work with, and we have this tool that measures the hydration levels in skin. And I was, you know, looking at my like winter skin hydration levels, and when I was comparing this to how my skin used to be, I used to be extraordinarily oily, greasy, acne prone. Like you look at some of the old foundation tested videos I did, I was a grease ball by the end of the day. Now I still have oily, acne prone skin. Recently, my life has, it's been one of the most difficult years of my entire life for multiple reasons. I feel like my skin has been a little bit off because of that. But even when I look at the past 3 to 5 years, basically I used to wear makeup and foundation every day to I don't anymore, that 5-year period, I realized that my skin is not as oily as it used to be. And I wonder if there was something in the foundation that was triggering my skin to be more oily or actually drying out my skin to the point that my skin felt the need to lubricate itself more, because that's how your skin waterproofs and lubricates itself, is by producing oil, right? Or if the layer of foundation was just taking the oil that my skin was already producing and holding it closer to the skin or mixing with the oils in the foundation. I don't know the answer, but either way, when I look back at videos and photos and then my personal, like my subjective experience, I noticed that when I stopped wearing foundation every day, my skin is still oily, especially in the T-zone, but I feel like my skin type has shifted to oily to combo instead of just grease ball. Like, let's say here's dry, here's oily, like oily grease ball, like takeout food, and this right here is like dry, cracked, crusty, like she needs a little bit of moisture, and then combo's like right in the middle. I used to be way on this side, and now I'm like in here. And that was just so interesting to me, because even now when I apply like a full face of makeup and foundation, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel oilier than normal. Maybe I'm just feeling the stuff on my skin, but it is very strange that it feels like my skin is a little bit more dry when I'm not wearing so much foundation. Has anyone else experienced that, or the opposite? Like, please tell me. Now, my acne did get better for, I think, other reasons, but perhaps not wearing foundation every day helped. And yes, my skin did get, I feel like, a little bit more to the dry side or more to the combo side. But the other major things is that I feel like I notice my wrinkles less, but my pores more, which is so strange. You see, when I would cake foundation on every day, I would do primer, concealer, liquid foundation, sometimes even like a paste foundation, more concealer, powder, setting spray, like so many layers. And I would notice all of my fine lines and wrinkles starting to show up throughout the day if I didn't use the right products in the right order. It was so exhausting, like especially those marionette lines. I would like blot them all day, couldn't wear sunglasses, or I'm supposed to wear glasses. I have a prescription for eyeglasses. I don't wear them because I can't, because of the little things that happen to the side of my nose when I used to wear foundation every day. Maybe I should start wearing my glasses. Sorry, my eye doctor, sorry. I'm just not in that habit. I can do contacts, or I just like can't see you. I just can't see. I just like, hope it's recording, right? Because I didn't wear glasses with foundation for so long. But I used to notice all these fine lines because the foundation would cake up in them. And when I stopped wearing foundation every day, those fine lines like aren't there. You see, in skincare, there are dynamic wrinkles and static wrinkles. The dynamic ones are the ones that happen when we express ourselves. The static ones are when we're not even moving our face, the ones that have really set in. And that's usually what people have concerns about. That's why you use retinoids and sunscreen or do lasers, right? Well, I feel like my wrinkles were exaggerated by the foundation and the makeup. And when I stopped using them, I don't want to say that I like aged backwards, because that doesn't happen. Our telomeres are all shortening all the time, all right? But I feel like I notice the wrinkles less. And for me, that makes me feel like the fine lines and wrinkles aren't there as much. On the flip side, I feel like I notice my pores more. When I did my foundation routine, I would cover up my pores like no one's business, because that was my biggest insecurity, right? My acne, my pores. And I feel like when I stopped wearing foundation, I could see, you know, the minute details of my skin, and I had to learn to fall in love with that. Even my pores, I used to have blackheads, I now have sebaceous filaments. Look really closely, like especially at the nose or the chest. Do you have like these amber boogers? You might think they're blackheads, they're not. They're sebaceous filaments, and we've done videos on them. I've noticed those a lot more because my foundation used to cover them up. And I even noticed like pores in here. I actually have a pimple brewing right between my eyebrows, and it's okay, I'm gonna go out like this. But it was so interesting that I started to really pay attention to those, because when I would just cover them up with foundation, I didn't think twice about them. And I think that contributed to the psychology of my morning routine. Getting ready was no longer a chore. I was starting to experiment and like really dive into and understand what I loved as an esthetician, the skincare ingredients, the chemistry behind these things and how they interacted with my skin. And when I could just do skincare, no one could tell if I was using a really expensive product or a cheap product, and I could use things that my skin liked. I didn't feel like I had to put on this makeup to face the day. Sometimes I do feel like I have to put on and reapply my sunscreen, but like I could do a cleanser and a sunscreen and be good to go. I just scratched myself. Ow. That's gonna welt up because I have dermatographia. Anyways, if I want to, I mean, I can do cleanser, toner, essence, I could do multiple serums, moisturizer, I could do the whole 9 yards, but I don't have to. And that's what's amazing, because when I did wear foundation every day, I felt like, oh my God, if I'm gonna cover up my pimples and put on foundation, I might as well put on concealer, right? And then, oh my God, I might as well do powder. And then now I look all washed out, so I might as well put on contour and blush and eyeshadow, because now my eyes look like they've fallen off my face. And it just became this thing where it was taking 2 hours to get ready, because I felt like it was all or nothing. It was like, if I'm gonna take the time to do this, I might as well just cover it all. And then the thought, the dread of spending 2 hours covering and fixating on my imperfections, I was like, I'm just not gonna go out. I'm just not gonna leave the house anymore, right? Like, what? And now it's great because I can literally do my eyebrows. And I have lash extensions, which, ooh, we need to talk about what happened when I've had lash extensions for 2 years now. But yeah, like, I don't fucking hate getting ready anymore. It's not a chore. And if I wanna have fun, I can. And if I don't want to, it's easy peasy pumpkin squeezy. And it's crazy the difference between having my morning routine be a routine versus a ritual. Having it be a choice instead of a chore that I have to do. And even seeing sunscreen as like a primer, you know, or using concealer more strategically. Like sometimes I'll use a little bit of concealer. There's a serum concealer from Live Tinted that I've been obsessed with, but I'm like, is this skincare or makeup? But I can use it strategically and not feel like I have to cover up everything, even if I am having a blemish or if I've scratched myself and I have like a welt on my face. And using strategic concealer to, you know, kind of brighten the areas that I need to and not to like cover up blemishes. Or even using sunscreen and thinking, okay, I'm gonna use my sunscreen, my Super Goop or my e.l.f. as a primer for a little bit of concealer. Or using a liquid blush that I can now like tap on with my fingers. I could never do a liquid blush. I couldn't use liquid products because it would ruin the layers of foundation on my face. And now it's like, I can enjoy liquid products. Like, what? It's crazy. And that to me has just opened up so many new opportunities to embrace my skin. And then the other thing it's helped me do is save money. Because when I would buy these foundations, I remember I used to buy like Chanel foundation. I'd buy all this expensive shit and I would spend so much money on the powders. And the reason I would spend more on the powders than anything else is because you have to like reapply your powder throughout the day because you get those little lines, you get these, you know, marks, right? And I would feel the need to whip out like a compact that had like Chanel or MAC on it, because again, I felt so shitty in my own skin. I felt like, well, if I'm ugly and worthless, at least if I have something of monetary value, I'm at least worth the $50 I spent on this palette, right? So not true, but that was like going through my head, and I had a real issue with materialism. I was in $80,000 worth of credit card debt because of it. Spending more didn't make me happy. It didn't make people love me more at all. And I had to learn that the hard way, but I would spend all this money because it was the only thing that made me feel like I had value as a human. And how f***ed up is that? That got into my head? Was it society? Was it a specific marketing campaign? I don't f***ing know, but I'm just like, oh my God, nose cam, I'm picking my nose. I'm like, I mean, that's why this channel exists. Is to break down the science of beauty and to help you understand your skin and love it in its condition, but not feel the need to go out and buy these fancy designer floofy things that might not add value to your life. And if you want to, go for it, but like ask yourself, was this worth the money? Did this make me feel better? Did it do something for me? And that's why I love like the ordinary, like I love my budget beauty. I don't love, you know, I love my budget beauty. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what I'm saying. If I spoke English, you would know what I'm saying, okay? Anyways, that was a sentence that I should have never spoken. But I did start to essentially save money because I don't think I started spending more on skincare. I think I was already spending a lot of money on skincare, but I was spending it on skincare that didn't work. And now I could just spend less on makeup, or I could buy makeup that worked for me strategically. And I used to spend so much on foundation. I spent more money on foundation than I did on sunscreen, and I went through it quicker. And I do feel like I spend more now on sunscreen than I did before, especially because I've been using and trying a lot of new formulas and reapplying it appropriately, as we all should, which is again hard, I know. But I've saved a lot of money by not spending it on foundation. And you don't want to replace the savings from makeup and spending something else, like be aware of that. But I was spending money on both skincare and makeup, and now I don't spend as much on the makeup. And I feel like makeup is just more expensive than skincare. Does anyone else feel that way? I love Charlotte Tilbury, but like I'm trying to think of a budget makeup brand I love, like Revolution Beauty. Like makeup is expensive, whereas like The Ordinary, you can get some inexpensive skincare. You got Bubble Skincare, you got the Inky List, you've got Micellar Water from Garnier, which I never thought I would love, but I actually fell in love with this. Like you can find some really inexpensive but effective skincare. Whereas with makeup, I feel like it is harder to find budget makeup, but maybe it's just because I'm not like entrenched in the makeup world. Anybody got suggestions for me? There's so many things that positively changed when I stopped wearing makeup every day. And the biggest thing was that relationship that I had with myself, but also like my skin changing. Like, did my skin type change? It helped my finances change. And it has allowed me to like learn to love myself and embrace myself. And again, I'm going out, I'm gonna look like this today, and I'm gonna feel so good. I'm gonna be around a bunch of gorgeous, beautiful people, beautiful both inside and out. And I'm not gonna feel like based on the fact that, you know, my pores are showing and I've, you know, got a couple blemishes here, here, and here. I have a pimple brewing in between my eyebrows and I don't give a f. And that is so amazing. I know everyone's skin journey is different, but if you have a goal, you wanna spend less right now, or you wanna embrace your skin more, or you don't wanna rely on makeup, you don't wanna feel like you need it to go out into the world, I challenge you to do it because honestly, it's f***ing amazing for me. And when I put on foundation, if I really want to, it's a choice, not a chore. And I can express myself creatively with makeup instead of feeling like this is a part of my identity that I'm naked or ugly without. And to show up and be like, hey, this is, I'm here, foundation free, this is what you get. It's just allowed me to show up more authentically in my life and here and in my relationships as well. So yeah, that's life. Has anyone else done this? Has anyone else felt this way? Does anyone else like need like a full-on nostril cam? I think I got a booger. I'm gonna go wash my hands. Always remember to be beautiful inside and out. Remember that you are even without makeup. It doesn't matter what your skin looks like because it has no impact on what you can do for this world. And if you haven't subscribed, or if you don't know what happened when I started shaving my face, oh, shaving my face in makeup, that did something. You're gonna wanna click here next. I love you, you're beautiful, you're worth it, and I can't wait to see you in this next video. Love you guys. Bye.